Welcome back, YouTube viewers. Today is going to be all about the back of the shuttle. And if you find these helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. This is one of my renders to show you the color of the lights that go in the back of the Shuttlebay. So there are, I don't actually know what these are, but to me these look like guidance lights for when the shuttlecraft or a shuttlecraft is approaching the Shuttlebay. So I call them guidance lights. There are two red on either side flanking, two orange towards the middle, and a green in the very center. But this is one of my renders, and is not something you should base anything on. This is a shot from, of course, the immunity syndrome. Not all the lights are lit, but I still think you can see some of the colors, especially the green and the fact that there's orange and red here. Very nice shot. And here's one of Gary Kerr's stills, and you can actually see some of the lights inside the dome up top. Red flanking, orange towards the center, and green right in the middle. So that's what we're going to be doing with ours. So don't forget to open up your copy of Blender, open up your Enterprise file, and let's go look at our shuttle, Shuttlebay. So hang on one second. Great. All right, Control 3 to look at the area that we want, and of course we only really have to model half of this. We can always delete the other half. And some of the users who have been following this have shared some of their favorite tips. One of them is from Redbeard, who tells us that if you hit the /, that's the same key as the question mark key, that it creates something called local view. I think that only works, however, if I'm in edit mode. So let me hit tab and /. Why is it not working? That's interesting. Maybe it's the number pad one. It is. Sorry. All right, so if you hit the / key on your number pad, you should be able to isolate whatever it is piece that you're working on. What we're going to do today is we're going to, well, that's interesting. First, I'm going to clean up the bottom of this, I guess. So I'm going to highlight each of these lines, and I'll probably be getting rid of some extra verts here. So it's X edges. And let's go to vertices, and yeah, let's go clean these up. I don't think we need them. So, and this is another one that I think was actually given to us by Redbeard, the user. I'm going to hold down Shift and click each of these vertices that are not contributing anything to the mesh. I'm going to hit X and dissolve vertices. It means you don't have to go and remake your edges. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Click on any one, Shift, and then right mouse click each of those additional verts that really just aren't contributing anything to the mesh, and dissolve. Okay, great. At this point, a marvelous tip by, who gave us this? I think it's Dare Romer 2000. Came up with a way. He says he discovered it by accident. I'm going to make a face on the top to show you this, but it would work with anything where you've got a large number of faces that you want to make. So I'm going to make one face here, and then I'm going to just select this top line because I want to make faces all the way to the edge here, all the way to the end. All I'm going to do is hit the F key, and man, that's a lot faster than selecting all the verts individually. I love that. That's maybe the greatest tip I've ever been given. And now, I think for one part of this, I want this to be a solid mesh with no open ends. So I'm just going to select the 4 verts at the very end. I'm going to hit F to make a face. And now that should be, yeah, that's nice. If I was to tab out of it, it would look good. It does. All right, now, of course, I want to destroy an awful lot of that work. So I'm going to select all these edges. So I want edge selection. I'm going to start here. I don't need the very end, but each of these, B. All right, good. And okay, so I've got each of the straight edges that go from front to back are all selected. I'm going to run over here to the left, and I'm going to pick subdivide. And I get a line right down the middle. And the only thing that won't be connected is this very end here. So I'm going to select one edge, delete that edge, and then I get 1, 2, 3, make a face, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, make a face, and 2, 3, make a face. There's something wrong there. What did I do wrong? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a face. There we go. And it's just 1, 2, 3. Make a face. Okay, good. All right, so now we've got a line of verts that runs right down the center and matches up with this and meets up with this line right here, which is great. Now all we have to do is do it on the 7, on the bottom. Sorry. So I'm going to B and select all these edges. Okay, good. Control 7. I'm going to scooch in here. I want to add this and this. Okay, we're going to subdivide. And then deselect all of that. Delete one edge. And then and then put these back. Face and then face. Okay, great. Now, we could delete either half of this and then mirror it. So, again, a great tip that I think was also from Redbeard. So I'm going to tab out of edit mode, and I'm going to Shift-Alt-Control-C. I'm going to move geometry. Oops, I'm sorry. Shift-Alt-Control-C. I want to move origin to geometry. So it's right in the middle of this from left to right, top to bottom, and so on. Shift-A. I'm sorry, Shift-S. I'm going to move cursor to that object, so our 3D cursor is right there. And what did he do? He had a nice tip. Shoot, I'm trying to remember what it is. Hang on. Oh, my mistake. This is a tip from Baz R. if you hit Control A, and then you can select rotation and reset the rotation values to 0. So now, if we mirror something, it should mirror correctly. I realize that's some extra steps. And we're going to now go to... where is my... Oh, it's because we're in isolated mode here. I want to run off to where I've got my original copies of my windows, and I want my squarish, my kind of rectangular-ish window. So we're going to modify this to become all the different light sources. So I'm going to Shift D, move a copy of that to, there's nothing in the second lane, and I really like moving stuff so that it's isolated. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move it, even though we can isolate it. I'm going to move it to the second level here, the second layer. Go to the second layer, and so now I've got 2 items on one layer. Put this down here really close, and it should be perfectly centered. And of course, if it isn't, you could always just move object to 3D cursor, which should be right here. So anyway, so I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. Now that'll only work if you're in bounding box center mode. If you're in cursor mode, it'll start to swing it around wherever the cursor is. All right. So now, Control 3. I want to go to Z so I can see this thing. And Shift D. Okay, great. I'm going to move one of these out of the way. I'm going to take this and I'm going to scale it down. So I'm going to scale this down till top and bottom are about the same height as the illustration that Alan has got here. I'm going to tab, and I'm going to go a little closer. It's already selected, but I'm going to B. I want to select half of my verts, either side, doesn't matter, and make them the width of the light. A to deselect, B to select the other half, and there we go. So as long as it's pretty close, that's good enough. A, tab. Okay, good. So that's good. Shift D, rotate 90, grab. Actually, you know what? We've already got this to about the right thickness. Let's duplicate this one. Shift D. Nice. Line that up. And we're going to do kind of what we did before. Select half the verts. And you can grab it and hit Z if you want, G and Z, and move down. Or you can use the arrow keys. It doesn't matter either way. You get the same result. All right, now normally I would tell you to duplicate this and move it over, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to duplicate this. Shift D. And I'm going to move our copy over here. Tab and enter edit mode. B and select some of our half of our verts and move them till they're about in position. A, B, move these so they're about in position. About like that, I suppose. Looks about right to me. So we've got just over half of this all set. Tab. Now what I want to do is I want to add a little more geometry here because I want a line above here, a line below here, and below here. All right, so Control R. If it gets confusing because the front is wider than the back, then just hit Z. I don't really need Alan's guide. I can see where my placement of my objects already is. So I can simply line things up this way. Now, normally I put a line right here as well, so what the heck. And I'm going to be that nuts. I might as well put one somewhere around here. I could do one more here. Okay, so now I've got these lined up fairly well. The only thing is, I think I'm going to add one more line here. One line here. And one line here. Last one. Okay. So we should be able to catch everything that's coming off of this. Now what I like to do when I'm making these is I like the lit surface that we're going to do internally to be equidistant from the outer surface of the model. The only way to do that is to have a curvilinear cutting tool. I'll show you what I mean. Please forgive the sound of thunder if you can hear that. There's a thunderstorm going on here. I'm going to Shift D this at least once or twice, but and then I'm gonna move this out of the way. Don't need it anymore. And of course, I've only got half of these, so I'm going to go to 7, and I'm going to grab actually each of these. So that's Shift right mouse. So right mouse click on one, Shift right mouse click on the others. And I'm not going to grab, I'm going to scale X so that we get a fairly decent size. Y will become apparent in just a moment. All right. So now I'm going to Shift D and copy these as well and move the copies forward a little bit. A to deselect. Let's just grab one of these copies and move it in. All right, so now I know that it's in all the way. We're going to do the same with each of these copies here. It's in, it's all the way, and it's, whoops, in, it's all the way. All right, so if I go to Z, I can see that I've got edges in no matter what I do. Matter of fact, they don't have to be all that far in. They can be just inside the lip, because we're going to do something opposite of what we've been doing with our modeling up until now. Each of these is going to be what remains, and we're going to delete this. We're going to use the hull of the ship as the plug to cut in this particular case. So the 3 that we move forward, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to grab them all. I'm going to Control J. They are now one item. So now we're going to go to modifiers. And we're going to add a modifier Boolean, right? We're going to move this up. I don't want intersect. I want difference. Pardon me. We're going to pick our selector, and we're going to pick our hull. And apply. Okay, great. So now we actually don't even need these anymore because I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. I'm going to move these just in case we ever need them again. But now we've got 3 plugs that are rounded to the shape of the hull. So I'm going to go 7, Z so that they're transparent, and I'm going to move them forward just a little bit here. We are going to need another copy of the hull, Shift D. All right, I'm going to add a Boolean modifier, move it up, and I want to leave intersect, and I'm going to select these plugs. Okay, great. We're going to apply that, and heck, let's apply the edge split, because all we're going to do with these now is, now that they're still highlighted, they're still selected, go over here to materials. We're going to delete our hull gray, and we're going to throw in glass, just for now, right? Regular old glass. That's fine. Okay, good. Now we're going to pick our hull again. Go back to modifiers. We're going to add a Boolean, move it up. This time we want difference. Pick our drill bits here, our plugs. Apply. What the heck, apply the edge split. Now let's move these plugs out of the way. Don't need them anymore. Just in case we ever need them again. All right, cool. Now, rotate around, and we've got glass exactly in the spot where... Oh, I've got one too many hulls. I'm going to move this copy of the hull there. All right, cool. Well, I thought something was wrong. All right, so great. We've got just over half of the windows, these lit things, all set to go. Actually, here, Control 3. Tab. All right. Excellent. Now, if I center this up, this half doesn't have all that detail. So I'm going to B. Let's make sure that half of the whole thing has been selected. It looks so. X, delete vertices, and we have half of an object. Cool. 7. Add modifier. Mirror. I'm going to take away X, turn on Y, turn on clipping, tab, and we've got a whole object again, complete with those other 2 windows. So now one of the things that we can do is this set of windows inherited an awful lot of what we did, including being split right down the middle. So X, vertices. What I want to do now is, actually, hang on, let's grab these right here. Shift S, let's move cursor to selected. All right, so now this is what we want to be the center of our object. However, the center of the object is here, so actually it should probably still work. Control 3. Well, look at it like this, I suppose. Add modifier, mirror, get rid of X, turn on Y, clipping. That is exactly what we want. Get out of edit mode and you can apply it. Marvelous. All right. Now I'm going to grab everything and I'm going to move it back to layer 1. All right, we go back to layer 1, deselect, turn on our lights, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to go into a camera mode and I'm going to change this from wireframe to rendered. And that's looking pretty good. All right, we now have the cutouts and glass in place for the lights in back of the Shuttlebay. Great job, guys. Don't forget to save your progress. That's File, Save, or Control S, either way. And when we have our next session, we will make the pylons that hold up the warp engines for the Enterprise. So thanks for sticking with it so far. Hopefully your model is looking good. I would love to see your models when we're done. I would love you guys to post a picture somewhere and send me a link or put it in one of the comments to one of these tutorials. Anyway, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.